What's up, everybody? Just came across this. Handsome Truth has been kicked out of California. He's been expelled from California, folks. Amazing. Yeah, I've read for a while. He's public. A lot of these guys that are big like him are public and they don't care. They end up getting backlash for the things they do. Well, apparently it became too much, and somebody spray painted his garage like you see here, and he picked up and packed up for Florida, folks. It's pretty sad. So, I mean, I guess people have a debate about if people like this should just be totally ignored, or you should clip them like I do. You know, like clip them, report on them. And I used to think the former, but now I kind of think the latter. Especially since I've enjoyed clipping so much. And I've done it to a bunch of people. Norman Hobbs, politically provoked people. Not Handsome Truth, but Cultured Thug. A bunch of fucking people. And because clipping has value. Because, well, why do the cops want a confession? It's much more convincing when you're stating something yourself. And you're on video doing something. Or you're on audio, video talking about something. It's like, you can deceptively edit, I suppose. But that's also used as an excuse. Oh, I was taken out of context. Well, some things is pretty obvious. There's not really an explanation for why you would say something. And if you're taken out of context, that means it has to be a short little clip. If it's a few minutes long, unbroken, people get what the context is. So anyway, this has been my theory for a while regarding shitheads like this. Plus, it's just entertaining. And if you could make educating the public entertaining at the same time, what gets better than that, right? So I know what's his name, Night Nation Review was exposed recently by Antifa, partially using my clips. I guess they're fans of it as well. You know, like, anyone's welcome to use them. I've been clipped as well. And it's pretty funny because when it comes to what they do, they're ardent First Amendment, free speech absolutists. Anything that potentially hints at trying to stop what they're doing is, you know, First Amendment, Constitution. You're oppressing me. You're trying to silence me. And pretty much anything you do using speech against them is cheap. It's terrorism tactics. You're not supposed to do it. You're attacking them. You're trying to silence them. You're trying to white genocide them. Blah, 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 blah. It's pretty funny. You know, like, yeah, there's toxic voices out there that, even if they're not on mainstream platforms or not being promoted, they're still going to find a way to get their message out. And either, you know, you can't stop them, or they just have a way to do that. Well, you're just going to have to find a way to combat them using the same freedoms and concepts. And it can be effective, and it can be the best option under these circumstances. So, now, I don't condone illegal behavior like this, but when there's incitement, either this was like self-incitement, where they just did the videos of Handsome Truth saying what he did, and obviously it inflamed people to the point where they would do something like this. This is the whole argument against hate speech, right? Like, if you vilify a people or a community or something, or a person, to a large enough degree over a period of time, people will do things like this, illegal things, acts that we don't condone. But since they're engaging in it, they can't really complain that the same is happening to them. So I think it's kind of a just response. They want to incite against people, so then incite against them. It seems to be effective. So if they're not gonna be quiet, just clip them and educate as many people as you can about what they're doing. Show them the outrageous shit that they say. Normies are actually shocked when they come across this. If you don't believe that, take some of the outrageous clips that Handsome Truth or Night Nation Review or Patrick Little. Just take some of those clips and show some relatives at Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. And they'll be flabbergasted that there's people out there saying that kind of shit. And what happens when they see something like that? A lot of times they'll say something like, how can this be allowed to happen? Or we can't just let this type of antisocial behavior occur. And that's how people are mobilized, They're mobilized to stand up against these kind of antics. They're mobilized to get them deplatformed, whatever action you want to take against them. So, since they're going to decide to instigate and incite against certain people, just clip them, show exactly what it is that they're doing, and it kind of becomes self-defeating. That's what happens with Night Nation Review. He goes on streams for like 5 hours a night talking about throwing gays and trannies in vans and not vans, trains. What else? What other clips are there of them? Yeah, getting rid of people, stripping people of their citizenship, deporting people, or worse. And then, all the irony regarding violence against certain people, even though he doesn't avow that, but, he sure jokes around about it and doesn't disavow it. It's all part of the game, So he can portray himself as like this victim who isn't doing anything wrong. Like, this guy actually, this is the cult mindset, right? When you're in the cult, you think you're in the know and you have the inside track on truth, and everyone needs to get on board with you. And yeah, you're not ashamed of anything because you actually believe the bullshit you're saying, and that you're on the right and normal and just side. So you actually might not be ashamed of the things you're saying. These horrendous things that horrify normal people. Because they're so unaware of that. Meanwhile, everyone else is like horrified about this stuff. So, but he really thinks, the normies are on his side. They just don't know it. They just don't know the inside truth. They just need to learn. They just need to, read Mein Kampf and watch The Greatest Story Never Told, Greatest Story Ever Told, whatever the fuck. Like, if they just watch that and get on the inside track on truth like him, they'll be, soulmates and completely on the same side. So he shouldn't be complaining that he's being clipped, right? Because that's getting his message out there. So why aren't normies, why are they horrified? And instead of being like, oh my God, this guy is the savior of truth. He's the Messiah of truth. Like, these are all the hidden truths that I've been brainwashed out of my whole life. So that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, these guys want to get their message to the normies, but they don't want to reach too many normies, because that's dangerous. If they see the clips, that's why he tries to take them down, right? If the normies really were going to believe it, he would want to be boosted as much as possible, right? But no, he tries to take them down. He calls them terrorism tactics. And the being clipped out of context is such a funny cope, because these are minute-long clips. Like, you can see exactly what he's saying. They're not like 10-second clips. I don't think any of them are like 10-second clips. They're all minutes long. So to be like, oh, taken out of context would be like if you're quoting somebody and they clip it so it looks like you're saying the words for yourself. That's being taken out of context. Not when there's a minute-long clip or a 2 to 5 minute long clip or whatever these clips are. You can't be like, well, the clip is 5 hours long. You didn't show it. You're taking me out of context. Now, that's just a cope that these guys use. And yeah, what he's saying is so stupid, because he's trying to say that, yeah, just like I'm saying, he tries to claim First Amendment immunity for everything he does. And he's trying to say clipping him or talking about him or anything that combats what he's doing is terrorism-like tactics. And this is the cope. You can't use the same tactics they use in their book because they're effective. So they play the victim card. He's on streams calling for making all these illusions, these Nazi illusions of putting people on trains and getting rid of people and playing Nazi music. And that's just First Amendment expression. There's no threat. It's just jokes, bro. You know? And then you clip him. You clip what he's saying, and then you show people. That's cheap terrorism tactics. So it's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, there was an expose about Night Nation Review. Anyone can go read. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna post it here or not. But just go on Twitter and type like Night Nation Review, and you'll see what it is I'm talking about. And you'll see this thing about Handsome Truth getting kicked out of his hometown. Oh yeah, and then the National Justice people, well, they think they doxed that Hillary chick. I forget her last name, but she's affiliated with some of these Antifa journalist types, activists. And they think they doxed her as the anonymous comrade, but I actually read that, and it could be her, but it's also like, oh yeah, we have an anonymous source that says it's her IP address. Like, okay, that sounds like typical Eric Stryker bullshit. Like, oh, an inside source told us this. Yeah, okay, that's doesn't prove anything, but okay, cool story, I guess. So I don't know if it's her or not, but it seems like bullshit. It seems like since they can't really dox anybody, they're just gonna like pretend to dox people they hate, so then they can direct all this flack at them. So I guess she's getting all these kind of quasi threats, like, oh, now we know where you live. There's a lot of people upset at you, blah blah blah. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but point of this video is clipping works, exposing people works. It's protected by the First Amendment and Constitution, which these guys apparently love so much and like and want so much. Anyway, that's all.